Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of The Stone Genius. This is Ro. I am the Stone Genius. Remember, I am often stoned, always a genius. And I am right now, I will be honest, I am on my way to getting stoned. So I'm really excited about this show tonight because I'm going to be speaking with someone about something that really I find fascinating because I just wonder whether it's possible. And this gentleman's name is Shawn Wickens. You can find him at his website, which is timemachineblueprints.com, where you can buy his book, which is the first edition of Time Machine Blueprints. Shawn Wickens is also a stoner comedian, a stoner business consultant, and a stoner futurist. So I'm excited about having Shawn to the show tonight, and I think we're going to have fun over the next hour or so. Hey, Shawn, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, Ro? You and I had a great conversation before you started recording, right?
Yes.
And your intro was impeccable. And there's a part of me that's like, man, wouldn't it be funny if I underwhelmed this whole episode?
Yes, but the thing is, you can always come back and redo it. So that was going to be my request. That once we finally figure out time travel, which I think it's more of a when we do, not if we do. So once
Yeah,
that happens, if you're able to just come back and announce it on this show, that would just be great. So then we'll just call it
no,
a wash at that point.
let's make a promise to ourselves right now that I don't know if I'll be able to announce that specific thing on your show on a future episode, but let's just agree that at some point I will say something pretty incredible on a future show.
That sounds good to me. I will take that as well. So
Yeah.
first of all, I want to address before we get to time travel, your theories on time travels, and us just kind of talking about that.
Yeah.
You also are a comedian. So, and you're
It's
in New
true.
York City. So I wanted to ask, I have myself probably mistakenly tried stand up a couple of times. Luckily, when
Right.
I've done it at the open mic nights, they limit you to 3 minutes. So I knew that eventually the pain would be over. Um,
Right.
I'm one of those people that I think that a lot of people go, oh, you should be a comedian because I can be funny in situations, but it's more you say something and it's actually
Yeah.
probably me cutting you down and everyone else just thinks it's funny. But
Right. Okay.
it is so difficult to do that. And yet you're doing it in New York City. How is that?
So I'm doing it in New York City. Yes. Plenty of people could have the argument of whether I'm doing it well or not. I think I'm doing it pretty good. But all right, this is going to be a great episode because I think I can say some pretty mind-blowing things about comedy.
Okay.
Uh, and I'm ready. So um, everyone is capable of being funny. That is the absolute truth. And what the problem is everybody sometimes wants too hard to be funny, and that's what fucks us up. But also to speak to your difficulty of doing open mics, yes, they are hard. Um, you may have not tried too hard, but um, you may have fucked yourself by telling yourself that you were going to do bad and then you lived up to that low expectation. So that's the difficulty of comedy. It's like you have to not try too hard, but you do have to try a little bit harder than you think you do.
Well, the thing that I thought was it's difficult because the great comedians have a story. They can start with something. Dave Chappelle started one of his specials. He goes, I'm going to tell you a punchline. And then he
Oh yeah,
waited all the way till the end of the show and then he
I
finished that.
remember.
So,
Yeah,
and I can't do that. I'm very funny. If someone makes a comment, I can very quickly and sarcastically or however I can come back at that
yes.
and so people are like, "Oh, you're funny because it makes them laugh," but I can't get up and tell a joke. That's a whole different thing.
All right. I'm going to give you some advice. I
Okay.
want you to, within the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whenever it's convenient for you, don't force yourself. This is also like gym advice, workout advice. If you're trying to start it's the new year, so it's appropriate to talk about this.
Right.
I also, I might have ADHD because we're going to go all over the place.
That's
But
that's fine.
okay, if you're trying to start a new workout practice, granted, I'm a stoner comedian who wants to talk about time travel on your show eventually. I'm not a personal trainer, but fuck it. Here's some advice. If you are trying to start a workout routine and you're like, on whatever day you're working out, if you need to quit early, that is still a win. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can't tell yourself that you're losing because you are out of shape and you were only able to get through a third of your workout. Fuck it, that's still a win.
And
And
I've
and
talked
so
about this on my
this,
show before, Shawn,
okay,
that as I'm 55 and I'm 6'5",
you sound
I weigh
you
about
sound young and you sound
yeah.
young and short. Go ahead.
But I weigh 165 pounds. I've kept myself
Oh,
in
yeah,
very good shape. I work out every single day. And I always tell people,
yeah,
even if you do, some people will be like, well, that's, we'll take a 10-minute walk. Well, I don't want to take a 10-minute walk. That's hardly anything. Guess what? That's
yeah,
10 minutes more than what you're doing now. It's an hour more of what you're doing a week or every week. That's
right.
52 hours of work. So
So this is a win. Yeah,
when the pandemic started, they were doing, like, people were talking about the 100 push-up a day challenge.
sure.
And I started doing that. And
Yeah,
so at the end of this month, it will be 3 years that I've done everyday capable. And I've had a couple of hand surgeries during this time. So I've probably missed six months, 180 days or so out of it. But I would be coming up on 100,000 push-ups. I mean,
damn.
because when you think even 100, it was not easy. When I started doing 100 push-ups, I thought I was in good shape. But yes, I agree with you. Sometimes if you just do a little, it adds up. It's like
Yeah.
compound interest.
Right. So, saying that, I'm going to give you a fucking year to go to an open mic. I'm trying to do it in the next 3 weeks. I don't know. But whenever you go, don't go with prepared material. Just go up there, introduce yourself, and say, I'm just going to talk for 3 minutes because I don't know how to write a joke. And then see what the fuck comes out. And you've lowered the bar for yourself because all you're doing
Right.
is living on stage. You're not trying to perfect the material that you rehearsed.
I
You're
think
just
that
living on stage in front of people. Try that and see if that works. And I don't know, get back to me.
I will. We have an open mic night at a comedy club not too far from us.
Wait a minute. Did I just waste 10 minutes to tell you to do something you've already done? You've already gone on stage and just like winged it?
But I have. So the very first time I ever did it, I just winged it. So my wife and
Yeah.
I,
All
and
right.
that
Well,
was
then you can try to write jokes. I'm
so
sorry.
well.
You didn't let
Here's
me
the
know.
bad thing: is the very first thing I said people just they laughed, and then after that, it was dead silence for the
But
next 2 minutes and 55 seconds.
that's still a win.
Yeah, that's what I said. I should
That's
have walked off the stage after I introduced. It was actually the anniversary of our one night stand, and it was like our 23rd anniversary of our one night stand at the time. And people
great.
just thought that because they hear anniversary and they're about to clap and be like, oh, 23, what? Hold on, one night stand, what? And so that got a laugh, and then I don't even remember what I said after that. But after watching, it is a craft, and I didn't understand why people had notebooks up there, and they would look at notebooks and they would flip through pages. While they were working to create a new joke or hone a joke to make it even better or more efficient, or people would
Yeah.
record themselves, and I didn't understand that, but now I totally understand that you have to do that in order to make yourself better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's see, I'm not a comedian who says like, "Oh, we've got the toughest job in the world." I don't say that because I've never had to give like CPR to somebody. You know what I mean? I've
Right.
never like ran into a burning building to save a child. But I
Yet.
but I would. Yes, I would. Anyway, comedy isn't the hardest thing in the world, but it's such an easy thing to punish yourself over. Um, So, man, I can honestly talk about comedy for like a week. Um,
But we have something else to talk about tonight
sure,
or
sure.
today or whenever people are listening to this. I always forget that it's not live.
Oh,
And so I
sure.
kind of just think it's the same time everywhere to everyone.
Yeah,
But that's the stoner part of
that's
me.
a great thought. That's a great thought.
Yeah,
That's,
it's
I don't know.
420 everywhere all the time to me.
You should put that exact quote on a bumper sticker. In my mind, it somehow maybe it was more beautiful than it was, but I don't know. I think you said some wisdom there.
Aw, thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
And and if it wasn't perfect, I think in the future I'll be able to go back and correct that. So
fuck,
we're gonna jump right into this. So
okay,
time travel theorist. So you have a book, and it
yeah.
is available on Amazon, and I would assume most places that
Biggest,
you can order
the
books.
biggest, yeah, the biggest marketplace in the world.
Okay, and they can also order it at your. Can they order it at your website?
Well, I mean, my website just links to
Okay,
Amazon.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, so it is available, and it's the first edition of Time Machine Blueprints. So,
yeah.
what is your theory, or it's, what's your concept of time travel?
I don't have that nailed down yet, but I swear to God, about a year ago, because um, I was going through a self-imposed emotional improvement regimen, um, but I was also getting stoned and thinking about time travel a lot.
Right,
Anyway, one night, and it all relates because it was at a point where I was like trying to think more optimistically about not only my future but a future of everyone around me because I don't want to be the only one winning tomorrow. I want a lot of people to feel good.
right,
Anyway, I I was also at a point where I told myself, Shawn, I'm not going to write down any jokes that I think of because it's like if it's funny, I'll remember it. If not, fuck it. I'll think of something else funny eventually. You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah,
So I was like, I don't need to write down ideas. Well, there was one night, I swear to God, and I'm not a math person, but I came up with an equation for time travel, and somehow in my own mind, I was like, holy shit, it works. I hear I'm not a math person, but I'm checking out the math, and holy fuck, this equation works. And then I told myself, don't write it down. You'll remember it tomorrow. And then the next day, I had no clue what I thought of.
I,
The equation was gone.
right.
Now, I'm a comedian, and so is that a joke that I wrote? Am I just talking bullshit, or did it really happen? I swear to God, Ro, I think it really happened.
Right.
Eventually, I don't know. I should journal more. I don't remember the sequence of events perfectly. At some point in my life, I got stoned and I decided to buy the domain name timemachineblueprints.com because somebody should own that.
Right.
And hopefully it should be owned by a decent person, which I like to think of myself as somebody who's constantly on a journey of self-improvement. Anyway,
But how about if you turn into a huge asshole in the future when you now conquer time travel, you go back and now you make it some malicious website? Have you ever thought of that?
um,
Not until
let's
now. You're welcome.
let's table it. Let's table it. No, let's address it. We'll talk about it in a little bit. Um, because there should be checks and balances in place for the person who owns the domain name Time Machine Blueprints. Anyway, if you go on Amazon and you search for Time Machine Blueprints, you can find the first edition. It's available in print. It is a blank book, and I'm telling people to fill it with whatever like dreams for the future they can put in there. It's a joke, but it's also like a beautiful statement.
I do. I mean that. I mean it does. It makes a lot of sense because I was
Yeah,
talking to someone at my main job with
cool.
about your book, and that's what we talked. So I do journal, and a lot of times because I'm a stoner,
Yeah,
um, I have a dog that likes to wake me up constantly during the night. And sometimes I will be just like you. I used to do this is hilarious. And I will actually laugh enough that I'll wake my wife up and then I'll be like, I'll remember this in the morning. And then I have no clue as to what, and I have no idea. I mean, it could have been anything. I don't even remember what the gist of it was.
Sure.
I just know that it was something exciting. So I started putting a notebook. I would get up out of bed, but then I would find myself getting up out of bed and going out and writing stuff down. So I just put a little night light next to the table, a red light, so I could see the book and started writing little notes down. The funny thing is probably 50% of those notes mean nothing to me the next morning.
Well, man, but over a lifetime, you might have a puzzle of some sort of like, who knows? I mean, keep journaling. You don't know what you're gonna find.
Yeah.
And
so for all of my shows, I do notes, and generally there's anywhere from 2 to 4 pages of notes per show. And so I have gone through 4 journals, and I was gonna toss, and actually I thought I'd toss the first 3. And I had the last one, and my wife's like, she goes, "You really need to start keeping those." And then I don't know. Oh, actually, I do. I was looking for my bong.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Can I say that it sounds like your wife, God bless her, it sounds like she puts up with a lot.
Oh my God, she does.
You're putting up red light bulbs next to the bed. Not for romantic reasons. It's
wait, did they? I mean, here's the thing. I can tell her they're for the notes, but they're also on during those times that I'm listening to, Nicki Minaj in the background. So
got it. I'm fine with letting private moments stay private. You know what I mean? Good for you. Anyway, it sounds like she puts up with a lot, and that's not a diss to you. That's like a compliment to her.
So we talk about it in the society, the high IQ society that I belong to, that because a lot of people with high IQs.
How did they find you, or how did you find them?
I applied. I used to be a member of Mensa. Now I'm a member of the International High IQ Society. I changed about 20 years ago, and it really had to do with economics at the time. But the reason I do it is because sometimes when you're in the top 2%, everyone is below you. You are talking down to everyone. No one rises. Very rarely will someone surprise you and rise on just a single subject. They'll rise. Yeah. And so you'll join these societies. There is a very, very funny guy on YouTube. You can like if you Google like 17 high IQ societies, because he belongs to 16, and he goes, "Why don't I belong to 17?" He goes, "I don't want to seem like I'm pompous or something like that." But it's very funny because you can communicate it in a way that
17 is a low number for him. For me, like 5 is a big number.
Right.
But him, 17 is small.
Well, and the thing is that, he's like a super genius. Like where I'm at, there are people in this society that they talk so far above me. I'm sure that if I tried to hold this conversation with me, they would have the same disdain for me as I do for someone that would be the equal number of points below me.
Yeah.
So it's all relative, but they will do stuff, and they talked about time travel, and they talked about, they've talked about all sorts of stuff, but the feedback, it's legitimate feedback. I once made the stupid comment, and I knew that these people would know who Icarus was and the story of Icarus, but I said, "Hey, I'm bored. I'm thinking about building some wings out of wax and taking a trip to the sun."
Yeah.
That was my joke. I mean, that was my whole post, and I did, whatever, just something to change the pace on there. I had people telling me like at what temperatures certain waxes would melt. Wow. Yeah.
Well,
so it's fun to have that type of stuff. And one of the things I sent you was Vince from the society. When I said that you were going to be on the show, he built an article about me from 1923, 100 years ago,
right?
As a joke, and so that's the kind of thing. So we joined the society so we can talk. I mean, I don't know. It
I don't know. Do you guys have conventions? Do you party? It sounds like it might be a fun group of people.
It is. It's an interesting group of people. You know, it's the humor is weird.
Yeah.
You know, like a joke that people would find very funny would be like, what happens at Event Horizon stays at Event Horizon. And most people don't know what Event
Wow.
Horizon is, but
Yeah.
we would laugh hysterically, and our
I mean,
spouses may be like, hold on, I think
I'll
I
be
have some.
honest.
Yeah, they would be the
I'll be honest.
crickets.
I'll be honest. Yeah. I'll be honest to you and your listeners. I did laugh at that, but maybe I laughed because I didn't get it and I just wanted to fit in.
No, and that's fine. So I'll explain to the listeners. Event Horizon is the cusp of a black hole, and a black hole pulls everything in. Nothing escapes a black hole. So
Yeah.
basically, if you say what happens there stays, it stays there because it can't get out. So,
Yeah.
but that's where,
I I came up with a first draft for a joke about black holes recently that I'll debut to you.
yes,
And it's that I had the realization that it's possible that somehow every knowledge I've acquired about black holes from any documentary I've watched or book I've read has disappeared.
nice. I like it. I do. I'm not a
I think I over
I'm
I
not
need
an
to
over.
quote it.
I'm not a guffaw type guy. That makes me a bad audience member because I'm.
No, it's all right.
Let's see. I can't remember the movie. Oh, Quick Change with Bill Murray. When someone asked him what kind of clown he was dressed as a clown. He goes, laughing on the inside, kind of, guess. And that's kind of how I am. I think a lot of things are hilarious, but I have that my resting bitch face so that no one ever gets to see that part of it.
Well, I think sometimes I come up with jokes that don't make people laugh, but just do make people think, and that's fine as well.
That is fine as well. Now,
Yeah.
I want to ask you, my wife and I, before you and I were even on each other's horizons, my wife
Yeah.
and I were kind of talking about if we could go back. So here's what it goes to is my wife is 7 years younger than I am.
Okay.
So I met her when I was 28. She was 21.
All right.
Everything's cool. We've been
Yeah.
together now 27 years after starting as a one night stand.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, if I could go back in time to be like 18 and change a lot of the mistakes, I would. And I
Right.
go, would it be okay that you and I are together because you're only 11? She's like, no. And I'm like, but we know we're going to be together forever.
Right.
And
Hmm.
so that's when I start thinking about, time travel. I mean, the one way I have seen time that I could see time travel work, and it's not physical time travel, but if someone
Ooh.
went to a
Okay.
long-term coma,
Yes. All
you
right.
like your mind could go back to a certain point and because you've already lived all those days past then. So you
Sure.
could go back and actually recreate your life in your head coming
Yeah.
out of that as someone that has lived a totally different life, that you had a
All right.
totally different past.
All right. I've got two thoughts that might gel with you,
Okay.
perhaps. And one of them, okay, is like, all right, we're talking about time travel. What do we want to reach? A better, brighter future. Okay. Let's say that maybe there's different versions of better futures, right?
Okay.
Everybody's worried about dystopian realities and stuff, but let's say that at some point in the very near future, some video game designers, coders, they decide to create a sort of simulated reality, a sim city of utopia, peace on earth. All right,
Right.
and and we're talking about when metaverse shit and virtual reality and augmented reality is a little bit more advanced. So let's say that these group of people create a virtual reality that you could plug in and for some brief moments experience bliss and peace on earth where everyone feels like safe and embraced.
Yeah. That would be amazing.
That would be amazing. And that might be the kind of thing that spreads that's like, hey, let's everybody jack into this. And it's like, oh, this is how you do it? Fuck, let's unjack and then let's fucking do it.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, like, why can't that happen? Um, what was the other thing I was going to think of? Oh, so I don't think about time travel. I think about other, you know, uh,
I think about,
phenomena that, yeah, I have no business of thinking about.
okay.
What, you know, but all right. So I'm thinking about the metaverse, and people are, I don't know, afraid of it because it's like, what if you get addicted to jacking in? What, you know
Right.
what I mean? But what if we can tap into traumatic memories and then relive those memories and then rewrite those memories so we have a fresher memory of an untraumatic experience?
Right.
Like, it is possible that the metaverse will revolutionize therapy. And if that's revolutionized, we are going to be in a pretty great, badass future.
Right. We would be.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. What else do you want to talk about?
well, I mean, when I think about, all the when I've thought about time travel myself, it's always like, how does it affect everything? I've kind of been
Sure.
watching a show on Amazon called Peripheral.
I
And
bet it'll make you nauseous. I'm interested in what you're saying, but I bet it'll make you nauseous. It's there. That's a theory I have about time travel I haven't shared yet.
that it'll make you
What are
nauseous.
you gonna What are you gonna share?
Well, no, I was gonna say that you like they were basically jacking in, but then they were able to go into the future. I don't remember. Like, it wasn't that far a future, maybe 70 years or 50 years, something like that. Not a great
Right.
deal into the future, but if something changes, if you tried to explain to someone from 150 years ago the technology that we have now,
Sure.
they wouldn't understand. So
Right.
in 50 years, 100 years, 1,000, I mean, I'm old enough to remember, phones that were tethered to the wall, and
Yep.
before, albums were everything, and then, oh my God, CDs, that's revolutionizing everything. So I
Yeah.
mean, in kind of what you said about, programmers being able to do that. I think about stuff like this all the time. I probably think about time travel less, and it's more because my mind has difficulty with all the paradoxes
Okay.
that would probably
Sure.
happen. Because then
Well,
I don't want to get hung up on those.
yeah, but it's possible in the future that our minds will be a little bit more evolved, that we're able to make more um, synaptic connections, so we're able to make more idea connections. So it's sort of like any paradox that comes up, we might be able to make enough connections of like how to step around it.
Yeah, and that's I do a yeah, I do that. I personally think that I am under the belief that there are parallel universes, which,
I think, like, why not think that?
well, and here's my thing is I don't think that I have. I mean, I'm 55 and I wear bifocals, but my
All right.
eyesight's not horribly bad.
What a weird specific support group.
Well, I know, but I mean, when I'll go into a room and
Yeah.
I will look. So here's an for instance, I will walk in the front of the house and I will come into like the kitchen table, which is like 10 steps in the front door of our apartment.
All
And
right.
then I will go, like, I'll forget something or go, where I just had this. Where is it? I know that I had it I know I had my keys
It
when I,
sounds, Ro, it sounds like, all right, we're about the same age a little bit. It sounds like you're describing a text-based game. Remember those back in the day? You walk into a dark room, your kitchen
it
table's
does.
in front of
Well,
you.
like I would have my car keys because I know that like my car would be locked. I would go back out and my car's locked. They're not on the ground. I walk directly in the door. And
Look
so
at car keys. Yeah. All right.
they're nowhere to be found. I look everywhere. I look everywhere. I go 2 or 3 times, and then all of a sudden, the car keys are exactly where they're. All of a sudden, they're hanging where they should have been hanging all the time. And
Well,
so,
all right. Here's what I'm going to plant a seed for. All right. Maybe some of your listeners are like, time travel. Fuck. Yes, let's do it. All right. All right. So we're enlisting some future time travelers.
yes,
Here's what you can do. And next time you lose your keys, and you're like, fuck, where are my keys? Don't try to find just one set. Try to find two sets, because if you find two sets of car keys, it means that you have time traveled and you just don't remember it, or you're about to, and like, oh, there's two sets of keys. Are there two me's walking around at the moment?
Oh, that would be
That's
so
that's
cool.
how we do it.
My wife would love that. I think if she could be a sandwich between me and me, she would do it. She
I
just
mean, I don't
she gave
know.
me a weird look, so I'm guessing that's a no.
Good.
Yeah.
Well,
So
you've
it's a
learned
little
something
late to introduce her to my identical twin brother.
but you've learned something about yourself.
I have. I have.
So that's great.
But I just
And
think that
oh, hey, you know what? Speaking of wives, I'm gonna put this out there because this relates to time travel. Perhaps my future wife is listening to this episode. So if she is, I want her to call 802-424-2092. Why not? Future
there
wife.
there you go.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be wild if it actually happened though? I mean, and more wild things can happen. I mean,
Sure.
the way that I met my wife was so I lived with a guy. He was
Yeah.
killed in a car accident. At his funeral, I ran into a couple of friends of his that I knew that I'd met a couple times through my friend Curtis. And
Mm.
they were like, "Hey, what are you gonna do? We need a roommate. Just lost yours." And so I moved in with them. And then the one of the was a girl, and Kristen was trying to get me to go out all the time because after Curtis's death, I was kind of just in the bummers. And some reason I just said, "Is there anyone that I'd be interested in coming up there to see?" She goes, "There's a
Yeah.
6'1" blonde girl I think you may be interested in." I said, "I'm on my
Wow.
way." She went home with me that night, and now it's been almost 27 years together. So
Yeah.
weird things happen. So,
Right.
this would be, I think, less weird than that because I don't think anyone would have to die in this
Th-
scenario. So,
thank goodness.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So congratulations on your future nuptials. I'm excited to. I hope it's a
I'm also
destination wedding and that I can do the podcast live from your destination wedding.
sure. Why not?
Okay.
And I also think it's fair to put out there that I am open to finding myself in some sort of very successful throuple situation. Because, I mean, I wouldn't say no to that. I don't need it. I'm also fine with the possibility of me dying alone. Whatever, you know?
Yeah. Well, here's my thing. I just had a courtesan and madam on the podcast, and we were talking about that. I was like, that sounds like I think I would like that job. And I was thinking it's sex, the hours are good.
Right.
If you have to travel, you probably get to go cool places.
Wait,
And
what job?
being a prostitute
Oh, being a
or an escort.
oh.
Yeah, courtesan
Okay.
is a prostitute with wealthy clients. Because I'm not gonna have people missing teeth. I mean, I'm gonna have these women they're gonna have their original teeth still. I'm not even getting into the denture ladies. I mean, unless they have a lot of money. But
Sure.
then I started thinking about how my wife may not be so on board with me having this new career.
Oh, sure.
So I don't know what the future holds. I don't know how we got on this topic. Something about you wanted to be in a throuple situation.
I mean, I'm open to it, but it also doesn't need to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at my age that I'm saying that, oh my God, I'm waiting for my wife to come around the corner and punch me in the face because I want to say that I missed out on a lot of things, but I didn't because I was 7 years older than my wife. So there were a lot of things I get to experience she didn't. But like piercings weren't really a thing until after Bobby and I met. So like I've never kissed someone with a pierced tongue or had different things done to my bodies with piercings. So
ask your wife if she'll just put a marble in her mouth while you guys make out.
that would be a great obituary for my wife.
Sure.
Yeah, that she passed choking on a marble. So actually, that we've talked about that as well. We think that when you die, you have to have an amazing story. So we had an EMT on the show not too long ago, and he did say that. He goes, you know, if they go to pick up someone that passed peacefully in their bed asleep in the middle of the night, they're not going to probably tell anyone about that. But if they
Yeah.
found someone that exploded on the shitter in the middle of the night, they are calling their wife on the way to the coroner's office to tell them all about it. So,
Right.
so
Here,
yeah,
I came up with a great way to die.
okay,
And it's that you just accidentally astral project spontaneously so hard that your spirit just never goes back into your body.
I wonder if
And
see,
and you could also that's the best way to go, because you could also, like, say, this is a horrible thing to talk about. Say I get shot in the
yes,
head randomly. I could just tell one friend of mine, if I'm ever in a situation where I'm about to die, I'm gonna just probably astral project out of my body first to dodge the bullet. You know what I mean? So I think if we all believe that that's how we're gonna go, maybe we'll just feel like we won't fear death as much.
see, and I don't personally fear it. I think it's going to be one of two things. It's going to be
Yeah.
either nothing or it's going to be amazing. And I don't know what amazing. I don't know what I mean by
Oh,
amazing.
that's good. I hope to see ball lightning someday. So we have different goals, but I mean, I think that's all very optimistic.
I mean, it just well, I never really gave heaven or hell that much thought until I heard someone at our church say that they thought heaven we would just be at the feet of Jesus singing his praises for all eternity. And I was like, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I thought we were talking about heaven. That
yeah,
does not sound like a place I want to spend all of eternity.
yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what it's going to be like. I just think it'll be, who knows? Maybe we turn into stars. I would love to be a big, actually, I would probably be a big black hole. I've been called a big a-hole in the past, so why wouldn't I be a big black hole if I'm going to become a
Yeah,
celestial body? Uh,
yeah, yeah.
I do have a question for you. So I
All
know
right.
that we've talked on time travel. So I've
Hey,
also talked
have,
about
bro, have we started recording?
We've
No.
also talked about, I've brought up parallel universes, a little bit about simulations. Do you think one might be more likely than the other?
Okay. Hmm. You could have one simulation of a bunch of realities, or you can have a bunch of realities with a simulation in each of them. You could also have none of those.
Right.
Um, I'm going to go with B. A bunch of realities with simulations in them is more likely.
Have you ever had deja vu? Like
Um,
very, very vivid, not like, oh, I
I
think this
have,
has happened, but something like so one off. This was
yeah,
back in the days of moped. I always remember at the house that I grew up on, I didn't know
oh,
what it was because it was
yeah,
almost like what, like I didn't understand in my dream what a motorized bike was. And I
yeah,
kept seeing myself jumping out of the way of a motorized bike, then became mopeds. And the same thing I saw in my dream, that's what happened. And I'm like, I have been seeing this for, it was probably months at the time because I was younger, but I had been
mm,
seeing it for quite some time.
yeah. All right, we're getting into some great stuff. This is actually a thought I had and I forgot about, but I just remembered it. And it's that, to answer your question, yes, I have had some great deja vu moments, and I had one recently. It made me think. Okay, deja vu is the description of that is feeling a feeling that you've felt before,
Right.
or having experiencing something that you feels like you've felt before. So that's, if we say that deja vu is point B, the recollection of it,
Right.
what's the term for the point A?
Oh, nice.
And if we come up with a term for that, when we go through life having good moments, we could say, like, oh, pre-ja vu. right? And then it might give us more moments of deja vu that are like magnificent.
No, they could call it a Wiccan moment. We could just name it after you. I
Sure.
mean, since you came up with it, but yeah, I mean, I never thought about that on the front side. So
I don't I don't mean to like just go around and like claiming to be an authority about time machine blueprints and time travel, but I mean, all I can say is that I'm actively thinking about it.
which would be
What?
more than most.
Yeah.
Because some people will be like, "Why do you think about that?" I'm like, "Why not? What are you thinking about?" They're like, "I don't know. You know, who's mad at who on what reality show or whatever." I'm like, oh, "Okay, well, I
Yeah.
hope that works out for you
Right.
sometime in the future." I was gonna
Well,
tell.
I can, all right, I can justify that a little bit though. And it's because they are living in the moment. Like that's going on and like, you know,
Yeah, but if aliens appear, I'm
sure.
just going to say I'm going to be more prepared, and it doesn't matter what.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say the absence of me caring about what's going on in those reality shows is going to have me better prepared when the aliens do
Yeah.
arrive.
Hmm.
Because
That's
I do wake up nearly every morning hoping that happens. Now, I hope it happens late in the day because there's a lot of shit that I want to get done on most days. And I just want to be like, I want to make sure I
yeah.
get this stuff done because if the aliens get here and I'm running around, I
And
want to
you
make
don't want
sure that we have toilet paper before they
yeah.
get here.
And you don't want to miss it. You don't want to like oversleep and just be like, "What aliens are here? Like they've been here for 3 hours and I slept through it."
Yeah,
Like it's gonna be great.
like Will Smith in Independence Day. When he goes out to the curb and he picks up the paper when it was cool to go to the curb and pick up the paper and just read it there.
Yeah.
And he doesn't understand. He's one of the last people to know there's aliens there. Hey, I did want to
Mhm.
mention this on Deja Vu. I have
Okay.
had a feeling of deja vu, the same exact. And here's the weird thing it literally is like seconds, like 3 seconds. And
Mm.
it's me driving. All I know is I'm driving. I'm the one driving. I have no idea what automobile it is, what vehicle it is.
Right.
I know exactly where I am on a certain street, which I haven't been down that street probably since high school.
Mm.
However, we live like 2 miles away from it, from this
All right.
intersection. But I
Yeah.
refuse, like if I needed to, if there was a detour and cops were like, you need to go this direction, and it was at night, I would park my car
Right.
and get out. I mean,
Mm.
I am so freaked out that I've had this same little thing because it always entailed
I would,
some
yeah.
dread. Like I
Yeah.
always had
I
this
would
sense of
say,
dread.
ooh, then I would say follow your instincts.
Yeah, I
Like
would.
you'll go to that street when you're ready. Like don't force it.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not kidding. If there was flooding and the police are like, you need to get off this road and go this direction, I'd be like, I'm good. This was my time, I guess. Sorry. I
Right.
guess the water's going to take me away. I can't go down that street. There is no way. But yeah, it's weird because it is just this very brief. I know it's night. I know the lighting. I know the intersection. And it's just, I don't know what's going on. So
Mm.
I refuse to be anywhere near that. Um,
Yeah.
have you ever felt like you've been in a parallel universe or bounce? See, I feel like I bounce back and forth.
Mm.
Like, like I, because I don't know. And I guess a parallel universe, I don't know, but it's just so weird because there's so many times where like I will just be in a limited space and
Mm.
something will happen that could not have happened.
All right. I have kind of yes. I I have had that. And it's years ago I used to be an overthinker and a kind of like internal negative thinker.
Okay.
So much to the fact, so much like I would expect things to go wrong and see how they could go wrong in so many different ways. And then when things ended up going right, it was kind of a shock and I kind of couldn't believe it. And it that kind of felt like my existence took a hard left. Um, but I'll now share that like I'm at a point where I am thinking more optimistically. And let's talk about weed a little bit. 2 days ago, I woke up and smoked out of a bowl. after not having gotten stoned for like 12 or 13 days.
Wow.
And I think I had a little bit of a religious experience because it felt so great. And I was in a moment where I was just thinking about like job stuff or like personal stuff or like things that other people have shared with me of like, oh man, like this is a little rough right now. Like I was kind of just thinking about so many possible solutions that I all I almost was just like, it doesn't matter if it doesn't go right this way because it might end up going right in different ways that I don't expect.
Right.
And it was like I felt so elated
And
of
yeah,
just like
it's funny because when you say that, I think of when I was in the golf industry, or when I was helping our girls learn how to play golf, is
mhm,
that they would hit a shot and they would try all their mind, and even though they knew how to do it, it may not work out that way. But I would
yeah,
always be like, it may go 2 feet, and I'd always be like, hey, it went in the right direction. It would always
yeah,
be like you need to change your mindset. That's not, I get it, but that's a page. This is something with time travel and parallel universe. I sometimes wonder if the story of the universe isn't always written and each day is just a new page.
oh
So
yeah,
where it's already what's going to happen is going to happen. We can't really change that or alter that. We may think that we actually have free will when we don't,
right,
and so everything's already be written. But if that's the case, then
sure,
I do think time travel would be possible because you should be able to figure out a way to go back to a certain page.
yeah. Um, I agree. It's more fun to think that Bigfoot is real than not, and it's
Right.
more fun to think that like we'll figure out time travel one day, maybe like immortality. I months ago I started telling myself, Shawn, it's possible you could live to be 200 years old. Like, why not? We might come up with some crazy advancements within the next 10 years, or I might end up just getting like plugged into some, virtual reality retirement home like that prolongs my thoughts. It's like, I don't know, some people say like, oh, I'm in my 50s, I only have like 20 or 30 years left. Nah, give yourself like decades more.
Right. And I have all I grew up with. I don't know if you remember the movie Logan's Run. That may
Oh, hell yeah.
that may be a little early. They terminated everyone at the age 30.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've said 60 to 70. I don't want to
Yeah.
be like my parents. My mom is still alive. I love her. She's amazing. But
Right.
fuck almighty, she takes so many goddamn pills every
Mm,
day. I can't even
yeah.
imagine putting that many pills in my mouth. And I don't want to do that.
Right.
If it means that I have to die, then I'm like, okay. I mean, I don't, I want to
Well,
live naturally as long as possible.
yeah.
And
If I hope this helps in some way, but in the future, you're not going to be taking a lot of pills. In the future, you're going to be taking one pill because there's going to be some sort of machine that sees all of your prescriptions and it's just like, I don't need to throw these all in different pills. I can throw all of these needed elements into one pill.
it probably will go in my ass, which I'm fine
Sure.
with.
All right.
Well, I just say that because I always go back
You
to,
know what? Hey, we're all going to be a little bit more open
well, I just mean,
in the
I
future.
I
So, all
always
right.
think about if like medical advancements for the human race. I'm like, if aliens can travel through space, they can conquer
Yeah.
space and time, but when they get here, they're doing stuff to our buttholes. Then
Hmm.
maybe we should listen to them. Maybe more stuff
Sure.
needs to be done in and around my butthole. And
Yes,
I have
you're right.
been saying that
It's
to my wife for
possible,
27 years now.
Ro, it's possible that the third eye isn't the pineal gland. It's the uh I don't know. It's the rectum.
Yeah, the prostate.
The brown eye. Yeah, the
Yeah.
prostate.
Yeah. So, yeah. But I just always thought that was kind of interesting that every time you hear about aliens doing medical, it's always on the butt. I'm like, and
Oh,
I
right.
think I think they would be gentle. I don't know why you would travel through space and then
Maybe aliens don't have butts and they're like, "What the hell is this thing?"
Yeah.
All the things are kind of similar. We, maybe they still have spleens, but it's like, what the fuck is this butthole?
Yeah. And then when they find out, like, like if they find out how to reverse engineer a butthole and they find out what it is, they'll be like, "Ooh, oh, we need to keep these. These are great." So I don't know. I have a big
Hey,
thing about aliens.
save
Like I
it,
say,
yo,
every
save
day I
it for
hope
the
they come.
stage. Save it for the stage. This is all material for the for the next open mic.
Yes.
Your butthole theories, your alien butthole theories.
Oh yeah. Well, I still think that was. It seemed like the anal probing was a lot in the 70s and 80s, so I think it was a homophobic thing that they could make aliens sound even worse. Like
Oh,
people traveling through space and visiting our planet. That's not bad. Oh, that sounds nice. I would like to meet them. Oh, they're gonna look at your butthole.
yeah.
What?
They
So
might they might look at your butthole and they might be communists. The Cold
I
War is real,
those those alien bastards.
Yeah.
Um. So what else do you have coming up for you with your time machine? What do you think on the horizon the next your next breakthrough thought will be? Do you think that mathematical equation will ever come back?
Um,
Are you prepared if it does? Do you have paper, pen, and headlamp next to your bed?
honestly, I don't think it's gonna come back to me. I think with the time machine blueprints that I will say I hope to within the next year be making a living off of just selling these empty books. Why not? Um, I think somebody else will hear, oh, some stoner comedian thinks he thought of an equation for time travel. Bullshit. I'm gonna work on it. And you know what I mean? I just threw down the gauntlet,
Right.
so to speak.
And I think you had mentioned it, I think, when we first communicated that why couldn't you? Why can't a stoner comedian come up with this?
Yeah, some scientists are mocked for talking about alien life or UFOs that used to be the reality.
Right.
And, some physicists might be laughed at if they just came out on some documentary and was like, "Yep, we're going to do time travel within 5 years. I can, I can, I can anticipate it."
Right.
They'd be laughed at. So why not laugh at a comedian?
Right. Well, and the other thing is
It's an
that
elegant answer to a very difficult problem.
it is, but you can
Wild
also
challenge.
scientists sometimes get pigeonholed where they get that tunnel thinking like, "Oh, it has to be this way. This is my thesis, so this is the trail that I need to go down and don't see the periphery." And
Yeah,
maybe it takes someone that's not in the field to
I'm
be
gonna
able to
give
come up with
you.
that.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you some more ridiculous evidence to credentialize myself as to why I'm, going down this path that I am.
Okay.
Um, and this is a revelation I had recently. This happened before I published Time Machine Blueprints. Like 4 or 5 years ago, I rewatched Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure for the first time in like 2 decades,
Yes.
and I swear to God, I remembered every line of that film. And I feel like that means on some level that I'm prepared for time travel because, Back to the Future is about saving a family, and that's great. Time Cop. I don't remember what that was about. All right,
Is
catching a
that the
bad guy.
one with Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Yeah, yeah.
Ugh, I don't
There's no,
remember what it's about too, but
but I mean, time travel stories. There could be any number of like what's going on here.
right,
But Bill and Ted's Excellent Future, Bill and Ted's, that was about writing a song that created peace. Like that is the best kind of time travel movie.
right. Yeah. Maybe that wouldn't it be funny if that movie was what led to world peace? I know.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, that's it's great to think about these kinds of things.
it is. I
If that's
mean,
not the answer, there is another answer. It's possible.
and often I will add yet. Someone will be like, "Well, we don't know how to time travel," and they'll be like, "Yet, we don't know how to because I do believe that things will happen. I say that to people all the time, no matter what they say. Yet you haven't
I
done
mean,
this, you will.
yeah. I mean, the time travel that we're dreaming about, it might be that when we all meet the end of our lives flash in front of our eyes, and it does so in a way that we enjoy it better the second time around. I don't know. Bam,
Yeah,
that was time travel.
yeah. I mean,
Oh, that wasn't so bad. Like, wouldn't that be great to relive your life that way instead of like ruminating and all the shit?
it would be. I mean, it does lead me. Sometimes I have a feeling that like this universe I'm in is mine and mine alone. I
Oh,
know
sure.
everyone else is in it, but
Yes.
like my life, the only reason I don't believe this is true is that I think that if this was my universe, that I would be like king or god, or I would be more than what I am. But I mean, I've thought about this. I've never had anything horrible happen. I was trying to think of the worst thing I've ever seen. I couldn't even think of something that I'd be like, oh,
Oh,
that's the
sure.
worst thing I've ever seen.
No, yeah. I mean,
And
I think I've realized as time has gone on that I am luckier than I realized that I was a lot of my life. Um, I'll say this also about um, what were you just talking about?
well, I was just talking about how often I just think that
Oh,
my life
you're the
it's
sentient.
it's not
Okay.
bad, and I see so many other people that have. We had a friend who just lost his life that was a couple years younger than me to cancer. His wife had died of cancer, I believe it was 12 years before this. So they now have an orphan, not orphan. I mean, he's going to the grandmothers or the uncles, but
Uh,
but here's a kid that doesn't have his parents, and you're like, we have kids. We have one that's studying petroleum engineering in school. We have another that's in school. I mean, she works too, but she's getting her PhD in psychology. And my
yeah.
wife is amazing. We've had this amazing marriage. We seem to not fight. We seem to get along. We love
Yeah.
each other more now than we did 27 years. So I always think that, I have it really easy. And maybe this is just me. And then maybe my wife has her own universe. And whether I'm in that with her or not, I guess it doesn't really matter because she's in this one with me. But
Yeah.
I often think that because I just see bad things happening to other people, and it goes back to the why do good things happen to some people and bad things happen. I try to
Right.
not assign that to
Yeah.
anyone. And so I'm just like, I'm really like in the middle of the road. I mean, I have a
Oh,
roof
sure.
over my head, I have weed to smoke, I have food to eat after the weed that I've smoked. So, I mean, I have it pretty
Yeah.
good.
Right. There's music that you like.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Most of it shaking their ass. I bet my neighbors are really tired of my playlist though. There's a lot
Well,
of
here's how you can find out. You can hold like a block party or hold a party, invite all your neighbors, play only the music you like, see if it ruins the party.
oh, I'm
Maybe
sure it
don't
would
do
ruin
that.
it pretty quick. So
Oh, okay.
most of our neighbors are the yacht rock people, the 70s type music, maybe some 60s thrown in there for flair or whatever. And I'm
Yeah.
more of the Cardi B, Megan the Stallion, Nicki Minaj, that type music. So
It's
yeah,
good they're getting just a hint of it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? They
At the pool in the summertime, it's we always have to try to get there early so that we can set the tone for the musical for the
oh
rest of the day. So yeah, if you get there too late, that you're listening to Simon and Garfunkel while you lay in 900-degree heat here in Kansas. So yay. I do like the heat and I do miss it right now, but sometimes this past summer it really got unbearable here.
uh,
But you know what? Maybe we'll be able to time travel one day and clear up this whole fucking climate issue that we're having.
amen.
That would be nice. And
Right.
that's like I would love for time travel to work. And I believe that there's
Well, when people made the horseless carriage, the first versions of cars, everyone was like bullshit, and we're doing it. And when like wind turbines go up, there are people who are like, oh, those are bullshit, but they're not going anywhere and they're going to get better. So it's like, we have that. I don't know. Flux capacitor in a DeLorean. Like, let's try it.
Yeah. I think you can buy those on Amazon too. You
Yeah.
could pick one of those up with your book on
Hell yeah.
Amazon.
Why not?
Yes. Here's the thing. I was just gonna say something about time travel. Gosh, fart stink it. I wish
I was just going to say something about time travel.
Well, it
That's
was
where
when
the
you were talking. It
punchline
was
of
when you
another
were
stuff.
talking about like Back to the Future, but I don't
Yeah.
remember what it. I don't remember what it's about now.
That's a time travel movie about a kid saving his family. And
So
I was talking about different plots, I think.
let me ask you this: would you be more interested in the arrival of an alien race? You can pick whether they're nice or not, or the future of time travel.
Um,
See, that's the other thing. Like, if everyone had access to time travel, then I just don't. I mean, unless you could go back and not change anything. Like,
well, I
it's
do
almost
have,
like you're a hologram and they couldn't see you or something. I guess if you're
yeah,
a hologram, they do see you. But, like,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, all right, I do have an answer, and it's going to surprise people because of the reason I'm on here in the discussions we've had. But I'm going to choose Arrival of an Alien Race because if we time travel, we might end up finding that there's a bunch of lonelier times to go to. If we connect with an alien race, hey, there's more like people.
Well, and,
More
so
people to enjoy, hopefully.
my
Fingers
wife
crossed.
and I have a lot of weird conversations, and most of them are not about sex. No, I take that back. Most of them are about sex, but the ones that aren't about sex probably involve aliens. So for a long time, I had a little alien stuffed animal that I kept in the center of the console of my car.
Yeah.
And so I had always said that if I ran into, like, if a UFO landed in front of me and they opened the door and I'm by myself, I
Right.
was if I could get in it, I would get it in and go. And so I was going to say that I'll throw the alien on the floor. And that way, if you find my abandoned car, but the alien's on the floor, then you know what happened to me.
All right.
Because I would leave. I would be like,
It's like a safety net.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I
It's
just
like
would.
it's like a weird totem from like that Inception, but it's not about reality. It's about like I might have been kidnapped by ETs.
Oh, that would be so cool. I did say, though, that generally when you see them depicted in movies and television, when a UFO opens up so that something can come out or you can go in, there seems to be steam or something going on. And
Oh,
as an
uh-huh.
original Florida boy, I hate the cold. And I mean, the cold to me is 70 degrees. If it is 70 degrees out, I will do everything I can to find heat to be near.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you've had a good life. It sounds like
Well, I was just going to
temperature's
say,
pretty
if I
good.
started getting close to it and it was cold and that's what I was seeing, that was the cold air hitting our air, I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't. They'd be like,
Yeah.
no, we'll show you the universe. I'd be like,
Well,
is it
the
going to be that
scenes
cold the whole time? I mean, that would really be a sticking point with me and aliens. I would do everything else. They'd be like, we're going to probe your butt. I'd be like, okay. I mean, I wouldn't care about that, but if they're going to be like, oh, it's only going to be it'll be 68 degrees in the cabin,
right.
I'll be like, I can't. I'm sorry.
Here's why I think the steam being ubiquitous in sci-fi movies makes sense. It's because the temperature on the inside of the ship is never going to be the same as the temperature on the outside of the ship, or at least very rarely. And they could be a few degrees off, but I don't know.
I mean,
I'm not a
it
scientist, but
does make sense, but I'm not
yeah,
going to where it's colder.
I don't
Where
think you're going to be uncomfortable. I think I think if aliens come here, they're going to adjust the temperature to our liking. I don't know.
I
They'll figure it out.
I
They're
know.
smart enough.
I do hope they. Are you packing a bowl?
No,
Oh.
I was putting some dishes away.
Oh.
I've been smoking a vape thing all night. It's easier. I can do that with one hand.
Yeah, I missed my vape pen. I do have it. I just don't have any cards for it right now. So hold on, I have something for that. Yeah, but I do prefer flower because I always know what that strain, whatever strain I'm smoking is gonna do for me.
Oh yeah.
Um, I've had some guys on that have a cannabis company. They do uh, like THC infused cheesecake, and then they have some
Ooh.
gummies that are coming out. And the gummies are amazing, but they don't do anything. My metabolism just like races right through them. So,
Mm.
but they're tasty, and it's funny because I said if you guys ever come out with a non-infused, they go, "Oh, we are," because they are that good. I would eat them as candy. They are
Oh.
really good. Yeah. I mean, it would help with the THC. I mean, I figure if I'm eating them as candy, I'm going to eat more than 10. So,
Oh yeah. You do got to be. You yeah.
yeah.
Things can't taste so good that you want a bunch of them. Uh, I'm pretty good at like knowing my limit, and it's like I'll eat this much, and then hey, it worked. I feel great.
Yeah, see, I wish eating it would do it for me, but it just doesn't, unfortunately. Hey, I'm gonna change gears real quick. I'm gonna go
Do
back
it.
to comedy for a minute because we're just talking about
Okay.
weed and
I
stuff.
hope, and at this point, I'll share that I hope people listening have been laughing.
I'm sure they have. And
Okay.
I hear from quite a few of our regular listeners. So
All right.
I will get feedback generally within 24 hours of an episode dropping of what they thought of the guest, what they thought of the episode, whether it was
All
one of
right.
my solo episodes, what I should have done differently. So they are very good and honest with me, and I appreciate that. But so you would I'd mentioned in your intro that you're a stoned comedian. Now, is that
Yeah.
because you're a stoner comedian, or do you actually do material that is around the
Mm.
topic of Mary Jane?
I don't do a lot of weed specific jokes.
Okay.
I do sometimes just allude to the fact that I get stoned once in a while. Um, I'll sometimes go on stage and talk about how I'll get stoned and watch a nature documentary and forget what animal I'm rooting for. And like, so I do stuff like that. But I also think a lot of times I come up with material that while I'm stoned, and it's just so weird that um, it explains the genesis of it.
See, and I sometimes wonder if it would just be funny if I wrote the notes, what I think is funny stuff while I'm stoned. Don't look at it
Mm.
again. Just go to an open mic night, have them ready, like have my wife put them in some sort of order, and then just me read them. Because
Yeah, I mean,
maybe the
I think
horror of my face that I thought it was funny at one time, the audience would think that was hilarious.
I think you just need to say like, "Hey, these are things I wrote down when I was stoned. Let's see if they're good." I think that might be enough.
Yeah, that's what I need. An audience with probably glasses in front of them or bottles, even worse, letting
Oh
me
yeah.
know exactly what they think of my jokes.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know. The club that I had done it at before the open mic night, and I did it
yeah.
twice, is no longer around. So there's another one in the Kansas City, Missouri, and it's been around for quite some time. I know exactly every Thursday. There have been a couple Thursdays I was gonna do it, and then I wasn't happy with my 3 minutes, which oddly
Oh,
enough is something I hear from my wife every time we have sex. Um, that was the worst three
okay.
minutes. Try that again.
All
So
right. I've got extra advice now.
okay.
So I think you can try going to an open mic with the intention of not going up. You're just going to go and watch. And just from participating that way, it might let you know, okay, here's what I should try that I think would lead to a successful attempt for myself.
So here's where I'm on the fence about doing open mic night again. The
Okay.
only reason I
Even
really
going
want
to watch, even going to watch.
well, going to watch would be fine,
Yeah.
although I might go to see a more seasoned comic just because the open
I think
mic
you
nights
should.
that I've been to have been pretty fucking awful. I mean,
Well,
I'm not
but
sure that
that's the
I got
value of that. The value of that though is like, oh, that was awful. Like, I could do that. Like, what's the worst that could happen if I bomb in that room?
right.
Um, but I don't know.
My thought
Or not
is,
try it at all. It sounds like you have enough fun with your podcast and your crazy wife.
well,
Like you
my
might
thing
not need
is,
to add another ingredient.
I think after doing it a couple times, I have found out that it really isn't for me. I wouldn't
Oh
be
yeah,
able to sit down and write enough jokes. I was watching the comedian Mitch Hedberg, um,
yeah,
and he was so good at one-liners or just short jokes that made you had to think, but they were just joke after joke. One of the jokes was, what was it? Escalators can never really break; they just become stairs,
yeah.
which is a great one. But just little one, and I may be able to write one, but I couldn't. He's like writing a whole show, and I'm like,
Yeah,
eh,
he's he's uh he's yeah.
but my thing is, I think if I do it again, it would just be to see whether I could get sustained laughs for 3 minutes or how much I could. But it's
Mm,
really nothing. I don't think it's for. Actually, let me rephrase because my
yeah,
Bobby, my wife, would get mad at me. She gets mad at me when I say I think or maybe or I'm not sure when I am 100% sure. I am 100% sure that stand up is not for me.
got it.
I think that I could do it, but it is not in my wheelhouse, which which is fine, but it is really good. Like if it was, I think I would love to try an improv group. That's where I think
Oh,
that I would be much better at being able to play off the audience and other members of the troupe than I am just trying to tell jokes or stories.
there you are. This was a breakthrough.
It was. Now I'm gonna have to write that down. I don't even know if that's a thing here in Kansas City. It used to be, and I think they were so bad it became not a thing anymore.
Well, it's uh, power loves a vacuum. I don't know. Maybe something else will spring up there, improv related.
You know what would be really cool is I just thought about this in Peripheral. So
Yeah.
in that TV show, and I think it's been out for a while because I'm way behind, so I don't think this is a spoiler alert. But there's one of the characters' moms is sick and
Uh
is
huh.
given like literally days to live. So in the future, where she's going when she jacks in, because she thought it was virtual reality, but she's actually traveling to the future.
This is that Amazon show.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
said, "Hey, what your mom has is actually curable now in the
Mm,
present day. So we went ahead and faxed the compound prescription to the pharmacy. They'll be able to make it, and she'll be cured." And
wow.
so they actually did that. And so
Mm,
because I was just thinking, could it be where you could go back and say, even if it's changing your own habits, like don't eat as much. I don't know.
mm.
I can't think of. I don't have a very big palate. I'm really a meat and potatoes guy. The only thing better than meat and
All right.
potatoes is more meat and potatoes. So,
Mm.
but like
I
if
love
you
a
were,
stew. I
you,
love a stew.
yeah. So if you're eating a
Yeah.
really bad diet for yourself and you could go back and change that, that would be pretty cool. Or
Sure.
maybe do that. Send a note to yourself. Stop being an asshole. I would see that everywhere.
I think we should all write that down. That's a good. Well, yes, we should all do that. Don't be an asshole.
You
That's a
know,
good thing to write down.
I write notes for my wife on stick-it notes and leave them all over the house, and she'll do the same for me. I hope she doesn't listen to this because she'll start to gaslight me, and there'll be like notes that say, "You're an asshole, you in
Yeah,
the future," and I'll be like, "But that looks like your handwriting, honey," and she'll be like, "No," and then they'll start being typed in the future. The only way they can communicate with us in the past is through a printed word. So. Well, hey, Shawn, I appreciate
yeah,
you being on the show, and I do want to
yeah.
spend
Thank you.
I want to spend more time talking in the future to you about uh, your days in comedy, and then I also know
Absolutely.
that you're a cannabis entrepreneur as well. We didn't even touch on that, or a business
Yeah,
consultant, so I want to touch on that in the future as well.
sure.
But I really
Perfect.
appreciate you being on the show with me tonight, or whatever time it is, whenever you're listening to this.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think we came into any resolutions, but I with
Yes, and we
time
said you're
travel.
not supposed to. You're not supposed to try stand up. You're supposed to try improv. That's what
Okay,
we figured out.
And I think the other thing that we think that everyone should do is go out, purchase your book, and start journaling. It
Yeah.
can make you better because you can go back, and I will say this from experience, you can go back and see trends. You can see how you were feeling that day, whether the weather was good, whether your dog made you upset in the morning, all these different things. You can start seeing trends, and you may see trends that may be beneficial, and you'll be like, oh, I want to start doing this more because those days I was happy. Or I want to start doing this less because on the days I did that, I was sad or not as happy. So I think that your book is an amazing thing to allow people to time travel, because in the future, once they read their journal, it's like going back to the past, and they can
Yeah.
see that progress that they made.
Wow, that's so you nailed it.
I mean, I think that's awesome. I mean, you're the one that brought it up, so I'm just reiterating what you said at the beginning. But I do agree with that. I've done that for.
Somehow I feel like you put it better than I did.
Well, thanks. But,
I felt
it really, if you do it daily, it really can, you'll see patterns. And no matter what that is, I mean, I have trouble maintaining a weight, which is why I smoke marijuana. I can't keep weight on because I literally will forget to eat. The most dangerous days for me are my days off because I'm not doing anything. When I'm working, I'm thinking, oh, I have to take a lunch at this time. I get off and then it's dinner time. When I'm off, I get, so I actually smoke to try to enhance my appetite, which will get me to eat. Yeah. And so, but what I had to do was I had to journal different strains, because some will actually suppress your appetite, but some will make you hungry, but they may make you paranoid or anxious or too sleepy or not sleepy, so, but whatever it is, I think that writing stuff down daily will help everyone see patterns, and that will help you be a different person in the future. So you're changing your future, and you'll be able to see those changes that you made by looking at that journal in the past. I'm just sorry I didn't have you on before Christmas, because I would have been pimping this as a Christmas gift for everyone. Stocking stuffer.
Everyone has a birthday just around the corner.
Yes, they do. At least within the next 365 days. Unless you're one of those suckers that got born on leap year, then fuck only knows when your next birthday is.
Well,
it could be next month. I don't know. I don't know when that happens. I don't think it happens on odd years. I don't know, though.
Being born on leap year day is a cheap way of time travel. You just age every 4 years.
I know, but that would kind of suck, too. Because you could always get someone in trouble. Like, you'd be like, hey, you want to go out? And they'd be like, I'm 8. And it was about like, God, you look like you're 32.
Right.
Hold on. Is that math right? No, I don't think that math was right. So if she was 8, 32, that'd be right, I think. I don't know. I have been smoking during the show, too. So I'm not sure that my math can be used against me in a court of law, as long as I describe that I have been smoking.
It's something else for viewers to or listeners to check in with.
Yes.
They can check your math.
Yes, they can. Shawn, thanks so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So, and everyone else that out there, Shawn Wickens, you can find him at ShawnWickens.com and also at TimeMachineBlueprints.com. Go out and buy the book. Hey, you have anything to say as we go out the door here?
Let's record it all over again.
We could. You know what? I do wonder is in the future whether you could go back and go, I've had a couple of shows, not this one. I've had a couple of shows where I'm like, that wasn't very good.
Yeah.
And so, if I could go back, I could delete them, but that's not the same as time travel. I would like to just go back and redo them. We don't need to do that to this show, but what we can in the future is get together and we'll just talk in the future.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Definitely.
I appreciate you being on the show, Shawn. Hey.
Yeah, it was fun.
To everyone else, thank you for listening to the podcast. My name's Ro. I'm the Stone Genius. I'll talk to y'all soon.